What's up, guys? Joshua Rivas here from RivasFX.com, and today we're back into Adobe After Effects. I know it's been a while, but we're back into another tutorial. And today we're going to be looking at one of the completed videos that I have on the YouTube channel when it comes to my custom PC build I did back in 2019. And it's the short version, and I do a couple really cool text animations, shape animations when it comes to some of the key elements that I have on my computer. And I did get a few questions from people on how I did some of these animations, all that kind of fun stuff. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to continue to build off the last video with basic frame animations, pre-comping, and now we're going to add in some masking and maybe some templates for our text to make it easier on us when we animate further on. So a lot to talk about, so this might be spread out over a few videos just to make sure that it's not too long of a video, and also so you have time to take it all in and understand it fully. So that way, if you've never used After Effects before, it kind of helps out and doesn't just make you more confused. Okay, so let's hop into After Effects. And I already have some text set up just to save a little bit on time, but if you want to start somewhere, just do a new project. Composition, new composition, 1920 by 1080 is pretty good, 2997 for a frame rate, and duration of 10 seconds. I already have that set up. Here's my text. You can use whatever font you would like. I'm using Gotham. I'm going to make my text, my title, bold, and my two subtitles a little bit less bold. So that's the way I'm going to have those set up. Also, if we look at the video again, notice how all of my titles are all on the left-hand side of my line that I will eventually create, and all of my subtitles are coming from the right-hand side. So since we know that in our heads, thinking ahead, we can go ahead and make our template with our title to be left justified under paragraph, and our two subtitles to be right justified on our paragraph line. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a new shape layer, something I did not do in the last video. Create a new layer, and also this will highlight up here. And this is your basic shape tool. So rectangle, an ellipse, a type of polygon, it will create that for you. I'm not going to be using that because I like to create my own custom shapes. So what I'm going to do, especially when I'm creating strokes or lines in animation, is press G, or you can click on your pen tool. And I'm going to click underneath my M, and then I'm going to do shift click and on the right hand side, and that creates a perfectly straight line. Very useful when it comes to creating these type of strokes that you just want a simple line. And also if you want to create some perfectly square random squares for masks. Anyway, we're getting ourselves on that one. Okay, so let's go ahead and drop it on this shape layer. And because I've been using this for so long, my fill will be unchecked, but yours will likely still be on. So just turn that off, go under stroke. I like to keep that about 4 is a pretty good number. I'm going to change that to white. Yours is probably defaulted to white as well, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. Now, it is a little bit offset between my two subtitles, so I'm going to click on my shape layer and bring that down just a touch, so it's kind of halfway in between. That looks pretty good. Okay, so let's go and start doing some basics on masking. So what masks do is kind of separate certain layers. So if I select my text layer, and I press G on my keyboard again, and I create a random square shape around my text. Basically, anything within my blue box will show up. That's why my text is still there. Anything outside of it will not. That is the basic of a mask. So if I press M, I can switch that. I can do subtract, and now my text is gone because anything inside of this will not show up. But I like to leave that as add. But what I want to point out for animation purposes is if I were to move my text layer, notice my mask moves with it. And I don't want that. Remember, I want my text to come from my line beneath that and not show up here. I need my mask to act independently of my animation. And that is where we continue on from the last video with the power of pre-comping. So let's go ahead and press M and delete that mask. And I'm going to do Control or Command Shift C for my pre-comp, say OK. I'm going to do the same thing for my other subtitle. Now, because motherboard just does a simple fade in the video, I'm not going to worry about pre-comping that. I'm just going to do my subtitles to prepare them for animation purposes. So let's go and go into here. Notice all this very empty space. So let's go ahead and shrink that down if we're going to create a template and make it easier on ourselves in the future. So what we can do is select this region of interest, click and drag. And what I really want to do is there might be some subtitles that are larger than this. So I want to shrink the height but I want to leave freedom in the future for a larger text. So leave it as a full 1920 width option. So then I'm going to do composition, crop, comp to region of interest. That looks pretty good, a lot better. And now our text is right justified still, and just a lot more less empty space. So let's go and set up our animation now, because this is what we want to do in this particular pre-comp. And let's go and do a position animation. I want it to end there. Because it's coming from the line below, I want it to animate from below first. Okay, and then F9 again. And there's our animation. Okay, so let's go to our title here. And notice, because we pre-comped everything and because we added that option of the region of interest, our text is now moved. So let's go ahead and move that pre-comp back up to where we want it to be when it ends the animation. And right about there seems pretty good. Okay, so it's still not coming from the line. So now we can mask. Let's go ahead and add another mask, G, and we'll do that. And I'm going to do this really quick. Okay, so now we can see that the text is no longer coming from beneath the line. Great. The only problem is that, see how it's still a little bit of a space in between my line and my mask. That's because of the way I drew it in such a hurry. So let's go ahead and double click on that mask and drag it to the top of that line. So now my text has no empty space in between the line and also is not coming from beneath the line. That's exactly what we want. That looks pretty good. And so now we can kind of copy that same option for our other text layer. So same thing, region of interest, click and drag, shrink that down on height. But again, we leave the full 1920 option. That seems pretty good. Composition, there we go. We'll do our position keyframe, and because it's coming from the line is above it, we'll do that, and then we're going to animate from up top. Okay, F9, there we go. And then what we need to do is bring that out, and we need to move that down. There we go. Okay, and then what we can do, same thing, create another mask, G, and shift click just to make it straight. Okay, and I see that space in between, so I'm going to click on my layer again and then press V, double click, and that will highlight my mask and bring it to the bottom of that line. Now we're starting to see how this is beginning to work. Okay, so that looks pretty nice. And like I said, now that we have this template set up, we can kind of name this. We can do, say we want to name this subtitle 1. And then name this subtitle below 1. And in that way, what we can do is we can create another one, subtitle 2, in the future, and the animation's already set up, everything is set up that way, everything is right justified, and all we gotta do is just change the name of whatever element we're trying to choose. And now we've created a nice template there. And within our title template, we can do the same thing. Because remember, in the video, if we go back to it, every element is in a different area on the film. So some of them are from the left, some of them are on top, some are on the bottom, and some of them may be on the right. So we need to be able to create the same type of technique with the region of interest on our title. That way we have not that much more extra space. Make sure that's animated out. And then we can do the same thing. There we go. And so now we have our template set up and our title as well. We can maybe create another element like that. But again, if we do a title 1 and then do title 2, you still don't have to worry about pre-comping your title. You just change the name of the title. So if SSD, see, it's already left justified. It looks pretty good. And then we can move, without hindering the animation, we can move our titles over and even move our shape layer over. Pressing G and then holding Shift and moving it over. So there we go. Now we're creating our own little title sequences there. So really powerful when it comes to doing the region of interest and also your pre-comping. Really quick, let's go ahead and animate on our line as well. So let's go ahead and do a add. And I'm going to select, where is it? I'm looking for it, and I know I should know this. Trim paths. There we go. Okay, and so now you see the line kind of animating on. So I'm going to bring that back to 0 at the beginning. And I'm going to press a keyframe, and I'm going to go to the one I already have, and then press it up to 100. And so now my line drags on. Do F9 as this video begins to come to an end. And then I just need to time this out with my 2 text layers, drag those over. Nice. We're getting somewhere. So this kind of starts up our series on that video that I created. So hopefully this is helping you guys out with creating templates, pre-comping, basic techniques when it comes to just setting up animation techniques. So hopefully that helps you guys out. We'll cover more in the next video and maybe get into some more advanced stuff with graph editing and all of that kind of stuff when it comes to animation purposes. Keep practicing out there, having fun with it, and I'll see you back in the next video.